Welcome to Conversations with Conti. We are trying something new. We're trying to put out some good content for our viewers. And if you like what you're seeing, please give us some feedback and leave your comments down below in the comments. So let's talk about how not to co-parent like Kim and Kanye. It's really hard when you're dealing with another person who is being completely ridiculous, right? For whatever reason. And it's hard not to allow them to go down to their level. And I think that we saw that earlier on with Kim when, Kanye was posting everything that he was posting, taking her family members' messages and posting them on social media and, just kind of going to a place it didn't need to go. Mm-hmm. But the second that Kim responded and tried to, fight him, on Instagram and, the social, it got worse. It wasn't a good look, right?
Yeah.
No matter what the other person is doing, you want to be the parent in court that is reasonable. You want to be the parent that did not engage in any of the foolishness, right?
Take the high road.
And it's take the high road. So it's really hard though when you're in it and they're trying to make you look bad and they are, attacking your character and you're just like, you want to say something, right? But it's better to say something in court. Because if you do not engage, you can say, look, Your Honor, although, Kanye posted 30 times about this, that, and the third, although,
even though he was in my bushes.
Right, or whatever, right? Kim never engaged. She never went. So it's a power. It's very powerful to be able to say, look, I did not engage in any of the foolishness. So the second that she tried to go in and, I'm the provider for the kid, like, you don't have to really do that because, when someone's acting like that, it's kind of clear what's going on.
And sometimes you adding in that extra response and the extra, to try to get the last word or the last say, it just adds fuel to the fire. And then you have something that started out to be, a smaller thing, but now it's combusted and it's blown up to be something much bigger than it has to be.
Because sometimes you think if you say something, they'll stop. And a lot of times it legitimizes what they're like, see, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm dealing with. I got a reaction. Right. Let me see what else I can do to yank your chain. And so, the key is, you know what? We're not going to focus on them. Let me focus on the kids. And I'll make sure that the appropriate contact is taking place because really a lot of the jabs are usually directed at the other parent.
Right.
And there isn't a reason to withhold the children. So you have to be the bigger person.
And not attack a party's parenting style or skill. That's not the way to get the result that you want. You're not going to get them over on your side to get them to see things the way that you see them by attacking their parenting style or attacking them, right? It usually doesn't work. It usually doesn't bear good results or have a good outcome. So you have to take the higher road because ultimately, if you both are doing it to each other, the judge and doing an assessment, both of your hands are dirty. Neither one of you have clean hands, and it's a lot tougher decision to make as opposed to you taking a step back, letting the other person play in the sandbox by themselves, let them get dirty, let them wallow in it, and you are able to present a cleaner argument and to show the court that you have clean hands in the situation.
And let's be clear, right? No one wants to be in the group chat. Like, Kanye, we are tired of being in y'all's group chat. Stop it. Okay?
We don't want to know.
And the court, but the judge is going to see what he's doing.
Right.
Right. It's all clear that he knows that Kim cares about her empire, her followers, what people think about her, right? And that she has, like, I guess at one point, however many million followers. He's trying to use social media to say, oh, she didn't let me see my kids, or whenever he gets upset with her, he's gonna go live. We all see what he's doing, including the judge who will make a ruling in the case. We'll see what he's doing. So it's not like you need to really address it because,
everybody sees it.
Right. We get it.
So the thing is, and I think that sometimes some people may say, oh, well, he has valid points. And I don't think that he doesn't. I think that if you, say for instance, like the social media and should the daughter be on TikTok, should she, so those are valid things that parents may disagree
on.
Right. Right? And so I'm not saying or trying to take away from him that you have a valid concern. It's the way in which you address that concern.
And how you co-parent.
Exactly. Right? So I don't want anybody to think like, oh, everybody's attacking Kanye and everybody's on Kim's side. But wrong is wrong. And the actions in which he's taking, the way that he's going about doing them, I don't think would be beneficial to him in any sort of proceeding dealing with custody or dissolution of marriage.
It's not the message, it's how it's being presented. So that's what you always have to, and just remember that in your case, this is important. You know, clients think, well, they're celebrities and everyone's watching their social media, so that's different. It doesn't matter. In your case, you have to present yourself in the same manner. You have to understand that anything you're posting is free game. And anything you're texting, anything you're saying, all you have to think throughout the whole pendency of the case is, would I want these words presented in big, bold letters in trial as like evidence to the court? Would I be comfortable with our text messages being presented in court? If your answer is no, stop doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
Because you're not helping yourself. Just because you think it's just between us and it's never going to be made public, that's not true. If it helps his case or her case, they're going to use that. And so the only way to come out on top is to not engage. As hard as it is, you have to understand that the end game is more important than the little tiny battles that you think they are winning in the moment.
It's chess, not checkers.
Exactly. There you go.
There you go. And then you want to, if you're going to be sending text messages and emails, you want to be writing those emails as if they're going to be read aloud to a judge in a courtroom, and that they're going to be hearing these things or seeing these things in evidence. That's how you, before you hit send,
assume it's coming out.
Assume it's coming out and it's going to be a part of a record.
Right. And are you okay with that?
Are you okay with that? Now, there's the other part of the discussion, which is, you know, sometimes parents, one parent has moved on and the other parent hasn't. And the parent that has moved on has a new spouse, new significant other.
Pete.
Yeah, Skeet. That's the call.
Don't do Pete like that. Don't do Pete like that.
Well, Pete, right? So if you're going to introduce somebody else to your family, and does it automatically mean that the kids shouldn't go because now there's somebody else involved and I don't feel comfortable with my kids being around another man? Like, what do you say to that?
Well, I mean, the bottom line is everybody's going to move on.
Right.
So you need to learn how to co-parent, move on to who you're moving on to, and let the person move on to who they're moving on to.
Right.
As long as they're not someone's a threat to
Yeah,
your
for the
sense of
most
danger.
part, you have no control over it. You have control if there's significant issues, but for the most part, understand that you are not going to prevent them from moving forward. You are not allowed to prevent your children from being, in contact with a significant other. Let it go. I mean, let it go.
Right.
The most parameters that are going to come into play is the other person. You can't have your kids calling the other person mom or dad and things like that.
Right.
So you can't control the aspect of them moving on with this other person. But if you're behaving in a way that's considerate, you might be able to talk about how we're going to introduce new people into our children's lives.
And try to do that together.
And, we may come to some type of agreement. Well, if I'm dating somebody new, I won't introduce them until we've been together for 3 months or 4 months and we're serious about moving forward. Because you don't want a bunch of people in and out of your children's lives. But it goes both ways. If you want to have some input into how they're introducing people, you give them the same courtesy, keep that same energy. And so, and a lot of times what we see is that one person wants to interject, but they don't want that same reciprocity. They don't want somebody doing the same thing to them. So, as the golden rule of do unto others as you would have them do unto you, it's the same thing in co-parenting. If you don't want them taking your kids somewhere and you don't know about it, they go on vacation and didn't tell you, you don't do that type of thing. And the biggest part of, these are my kids, where they're also the other person's kids. And so you are not 100% in control of parenting the kids. This is co-parenting. And these children need you to co-parent in a way that's going to create an environment of caring and where they feel safe to voice any concerns they have. But if they see this animosity between the two parents, they're not going to feel safe to say, well, sometimes when I'm here, I miss you and I want to call you, but I'm scared to say I want to call mom because I feel like dad's going to feel some kind of way, or I feel like mom's going to feel some kind of way. So you have to be mindful at all times when you're in this situation trying to co-parent that it's not about control. It's about creating an environment that fosters a place where your children children feel safe.
And you don't create that environment by threatening the new spouse or new boyfriend or girlfriend, or
making a video about them with their head in the grave. Lord have mercy. That's not helpful. That's not going to help the situation at all. And I think that in the particular case with Kanye, he has some mental health issues. And I know it's hard to try to co-parent with someone that has mental health issues. And the parent who may not have those same challenges really needs to be in therapy and counseling to help them figure out how to cope and deal with the parent that has those challenges. Because if you do not, it's your kids are really going to be the ones that suffer. And I feel like, you know, in the situation with Kim and Kanye, their kids can get on anyone's phone and Google and see what their dad's saying or what mom is saying, and it's not a good look for their children. Like the children are really the victims in all of this. And so when you're dealing with someone that has those challenges, you have to get help to help figure out. Because I think even in Kanye's documentary, he admits or says about something about him being a narcissist, right? And so like I've had so many calls where people are like, they're a narcissist. And how do you deal with that? Well, you need to get some help to help figure out how you
can handle this,
the web that you have, you know, of the narcissist that you're dealing with. So that's step number one. It's like, how do you deal with that? And how do you cope and manage that? And how do you separate yourself from that person and move on? So, I mean, it's tough. And, you know, I think that, you know, although Kanye has some good points, Kanye needs to get some help because clearly his attorneys are not able to control him or, you know what I'm saying, or to have any kind of client control that situation because he's just still following motions that are ridiculous and trying to prolong the inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of hard to, you know, even the best lawyer, if he's not willing to listen to that advice and take heed to that advice, then nobody's going to be able to tell him nothing. I mean, when he has a song, nobody can tell you that.
Yeah, he literally made a song about that.
And so, but don't let that be you. Don't be in a situation where you have a lawyer and you're not listening to their sound legal advice. It is real easy to fall into the trap of, I'm going to get you back for what you did. But that's not going to help your case. And we're here to help you move forward. And so when we say, hey, please don't do that, or don't engage in this type of behavior, trust me, we're telling you that because that's what's going to be best for your case and for your children. So if you're going to spend the money on an attorney, spend the time listening and following those instructions.
Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Conti. If you enjoyed our commentary, please leave your feedback below. And if you have any topics you want us to cover, please leave that in the comment section as well. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Conti More Law.